Have you ever felt like giving up when life threw challenges at you? Imagine a voice cutting through the noise of fear and doubt, declaring with thunder, "Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached." These are not just words, they are a fire that has inspired millions for more than a century. Today, through the extraordinary journey of Swami Vivekananda, we will not only improve our English, but also learn how to live with courage, self-belief, and an unshakable sense of purpose. This is not just another story. It is the life of a man who changed the way the world looked at India, at spirituality, and at human strength. A young monk with nothing but his determination and faith stood on the world stage and proved that one voice filled with truth can move entire nations. His journey reminds us that greatness does not come from wealth, comfort, or power. It comes from believing in yourself when no one else does. As you listen, pay attention not just to the words but to the energy behind them. Because Swami Vivekananda's story is more than history. It's a mirror showing what we too are capable of if we dare to rise. His message was clear. Within each of us lies a power waiting to be awakened, a purpose waiting to be fulfilled. And once we discover it, nothing can stop us. So stay with me till the end of this journey. Let his life guide you. Let his courage inspire you, and let his words strengthen your heart. And if his message touches you today, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, because together, we can spread his light to millions more. Are you ready? Let's step into the remarkable life of Swami Vivekananda. On a cold winter morning, January 12, 1863, in the bustling city of Kolkata, a child was born who would one day awaken the spirit of an entire nation. His name was Narendra Dutta, the boy who would later become the world-renowned Swami Vivekananda. At first glance, he was just another child in a traditional Bengali household. But destiny had already chosen him for something far greater. His father, Vishwanath Dutta, was a successful lawyer, a man of sharp intellect and modern thinking. He encouraged rationality, independence, and open-mindedness. His mother, Bhuvaneshwari Devi, was the heart of the family, a woman deeply spiritual, devoted, and full of compassion. From his father, Narendra inherited the brilliance of reason, and from his mother, the flame of faith and discipline. This unique combination would shape him into a thinker who could question everything, yet bow with humility before truth. Even as a child, Narendra was far from ordinary. He was restless, energetic, and mischievous, always running around the house with a spark in his eyes. But behind that playful nature lay a fearless spirit and a mind that hungered for knowledge. While most children of his age feared the dark, strange stories or stern elders, Narendra's boldness stood out. He was quick to ask questions, quick to challenge assumptions, and quick to defend what he believed in. His family and neighbors often noticed that this little boy, though playful and fun-loving, carried a strange strength in his voice and a magnetic charm in his personality. The household in which he grew up became his first school. His mother's gentle discipline taught him compassion and self-control, while his father's logical approach sharpened his thinking. Every story he heard, every lesson he absorbed, planted seeds of greatness within him. Little did anyone know that this child, running through the streets of Kolkata, would one day stand before the world as a messenger of courage, strength, and hope. And this is where his journey begins, the story of a boy destined to ignite the sleeping soul of humanity. If this journey excites you as much as it excites me, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss the next part of Swami Vivekananda's inspiring life. Now let's step deeper into the fearless childhood that shaped Narendra into a legend. Imagine a group of children playing in their neighborhood, their laughter filling the air. Suddenly, an elder warns them, "Don't go near that big tree, there's a ghost living in it." The children freeze. Fear spreads quickly. One by one, they step back, whispering in hushed voices. But among them stood young Narendra, his eyes sharp, his spirit unshaken. Instead of running away, he asked a bold question. "If there is a ghost, let me see it." While others trembled, he walked straight toward the tree. Without hesitation, he climbed up branch by branch until he sat high above, calmly waiting. Hours passed. No ghost appeared. When he finally came down, he looked at his friends and said, "There is no ghost. It was only your fear." This simple childhood incident reveals so much about who Narendra was destined to become. While others accepted fear without question, he challenged it. While others surrendered to superstition, he sought the truth. His courage was not reckless, it was guided by a powerful curiosity and a logical mind. From an early age, he proved that real strength lies not in avoiding fear, but in facing it directly. Narendra's fearlessness wasn't limited to this one event. He constantly asked questions that even his teachers struggled to answer. Why do we believe in something without proof? What is the true purpose of life? Is there really a God, and if so, where can we see him? These questions weren't meant to rebel. They came from a sincere hunger for truth. He could never accept blind faith. He needed experience, reason, and clarity, and that is what set him apart from other children. He wasn't just mischievous or intelligent. He was a seeker, a boy whose mind refused to bow down to fear or untested beliefs. This trait would stay with him for life, guiding him through every struggle and making him the fearless Swami Vivekananda the world would one day know. Stories like these remind us that fear often exists only in our imagination. If young Narendra could challenge it, so can we. And if this story of courage inspires you, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video, because together, we're bringing more of these lessons to life. Now let's uncover how his love for knowledge shaped his extraordinary path. From a very young age, Narendra's mind worked like a sponge, absorbing every drop of knowledge it touched. He had an extraordinary memory that amazed everyone around him. It is said that he could read an entire book once and then recall its contents word for word. One day, he borrowed a book from the library, returned it the very next morning. And when the librarian doubted him, Narendra confidently said, "Ask me anything from the book." To everyone's surprise, he answered every question with perfect accuracy. This wasn't just talent, it was the result of his incredible focus and deep hunger for learning. But Narendra's thirst for knowledge was never limited to textbooks. He explored philosophy, science, history, literature, and above all, spirituality. His curiosity was insatiable. While other students were satisfied with simple answers, he went deeper, asking questions that shook even his teachers. "Have you seen God?" he once asked. "Why do some live in poverty while others enjoy wealth? What is the true purpose of life?" These weren't the questions of a typical boy. They were the questions of a seeker destined for greatness. For Narendra, education was not just about passing exams or collecting degrees. He believed true education was the key to transforming society, empowering the weak and unlocking the potential hidden within every human being. He would often tell his friends, "Fill your mind with high thoughts, and you will always walk with your head held high." To him, education was not about memorizing facts, it was about shaping character, awakening the soul, and inspiring courage. This love for knowledge became the foundation of his future mission. It gave him the wisdom to inspire, the clarity to lead, and the strength to challenge ignorance and fear. His life teaches us that when we pursue learning with passion and purpose, we don't just change ourselves, we change the world. And if you believe, like Narendra did, that knowledge has the power to transform lives, then stay with me on this journey. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video so more people can be inspired by the brilliance of Swami Vivekananda. Next, we'll see how personal struggles tested his heart and revealed the depth of his compassion. Life has a way of testing even the strongest souls, and for young Narendra, that test came early. His father, once a successful lawyer, suddenly passed away, leaving the family in deep financial crisis. The home that was once filled with comfort and security now faced days of uncertainty, even hunger. For a boy so full of dreams and curiosity, the weight of responsibility came crashing down far too soon. There were nights when there simply wasn't enough food on the table, but instead of complaining or breaking down, Narendra quietly chose sacrifice. He would tell his mother and siblings, "I have already eaten, you all go ahead." In truth, he had not eaten at all. He went hungry so that his family could fill their stomachs. Imagine the strength it takes for a young man to endure hunger in silence, only to see his loved ones spared from pain. That was the depth of his love, the measure of his selflessness. This period of struggle shaped him more than any classroom lesson ever could. Hardship became his greatest teacher, showing him that true strength is not in what we gain for ourselves, but in what we give to others. While others his age were carefree, Narendra learned the meaning of sacrifice, responsibility, and compassion. These qualities would later echo through his teachings, where he often reminded people, "It is the strong who can be truly gentle. Sacrifice is the law of life." In those dark days of poverty, Narendra's character was forged like steel. He didn't allow suffering to break him. Instead, it made him unshakable. He learned to rise above circumstances, to put others before himself, and to carry the weight of responsibility with dignity. These struggles were not the end of his journey. They were the beginning of the making of Swami Vivekananda. And his story reminds us of something powerful. Even in our hardest times, sacrifice can become our strength. If this moment of his life inspires you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, so more people can discover how greatness is born not in comfort, but in struggle. Next, we'll see how meeting a spiritual master changed Narendra's life forever. In his restless search for truth, Narendra asked a question that had burned inside him since childhood. Have you seen God? He posed this question to many scholars, saints, and teachers, but no one could give him a clear, convincing answer. Some avoided it, others gave vague replies, and his hunger for truth only grew stronger. Then one day he met a simple mystic named Sri Ramakrishna at the Dakshineswar temple. Unlike the others, Ramakrishna didn't hesitate. With calm conviction, he looked Narendra in the eyes and said, "Yes, I have seen God as clearly as I see you, only even more clearly." These words struck like lightning. For the first time, Narendra had met someone who not only spoke of God but had experienced the divine directly. This meeting changed the course of his life forever. Ramakrishna was more than a teacher. He became a mentor, a guide, and a father figure. In him, Narendra found the answers he had been searching for. Ramakrishna's message was simple yet revolutionary. God is not confined to temples, rituals, or scriptures. God lives in every human being. To serve people, especially the poor, the hungry, and the suffering, is the highest form of worship. This teaching resonated deeply with Narendra's heart, shaping his future mission and giving purpose to his restless spirit. Under Ramakrishna's guidance, Narendra began to see life differently. He understood that spirituality wasn't about escaping the world but embracing it with love, service, and compassion. His mentor helped him realize that true greatness lies not in asking for blessings, but in becoming a blessing to others. This was a turning point. The fearless, questioning boy who once climbed a haunted tree to challenge fear now found a greater courage, the courage to dedicate his life to humanity. And with Ramakrishna's guidance, Narendra would begin his transformation into the Swami Vivekananda the world remembers today. If this story of mentorship and awakening moves you, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. Because just as Ramakrishna's wisdom lit the path for Vivekananda, these stories can light the path for millions more. Next, let's discover how Narendra's sharp intellect and unshakable focus became his greatest strengths. Narendra's mind was a fortress of intellect and focus. From the moment he picked up a book, the world around him seemed to disappear. He could sit for hours, lost in deep study, absorbing knowledge from philosophy, science, literature, and spirituality. His friends often marveled at his ability to recall every detail with absolute precision. It wasn't just intelligence, it was an extraordinary power of concentration. Once, while preparing for an exam, he read an entire book late into the night. The next morning, he could repeat page after page without missing a single word. This was not mere memory. It was the result of discipline, sharp focus, and an unshakable will. He often said, "The power to concentrate is the only key to success." For him, success wasn't luck or chance, it was the fruit of single-minded dedication. In a world full of distractions and temptations, Narendra stood apart. He refused to be swayed by wealth, fame, or fleeting pleasures. Friends tried to pull him into worldly enjoyments, but he smiled and walked away, declaring that truth and knowledge were far more rewarding than temporary indulgence. His vision was clear: to train his mind, discipline his thoughts, and prepare himself for a higher purpose. This intellectual strength made him fearless in debate, sharp in thought and unshakable in conviction. He could challenge superstition with reason, silence critics with clarity, and inspire others through the sheer force of his words. But beyond brilliance, what made him extraordinary was how he used his intellect, not to dominate others, but to serve humanity. His life reminds us that focus is the weapon that conquers every challenge. Distractions will always surround us, but those who train their minds like Vivekananda did can rise above and achieve greatness. If you believe in the power of focus and knowledge, then stay with me on this journey. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video so others too can discover how intellectual strength can shape destiny. Up next, we'll explore how Narendra's transformation into a monk marked the beginning of his mission to awaken the world. The passing of Ramakrishna in 1886 was a turning point in Narendra's life. The young seeker who had once asked, "Have you seen God?" now faced the world without his beloved teacher. But instead of retreating into grief, he chose the path of renunciation, leaving behind comfort, security, and even his own identity as Narendra Duda. He embraced the life of a wandering monk. From that moment, he became Swami Vivekananda. Clothed in the simple robes of a sannyasi, Vivekananda set out across the length and breadth of India. His journey was not easy. He walked for miles under the scorching sun, often with no food to eat, no roof over his head, and no promise of shelter for the night. Many doors were slammed in his face, and hunger became a constant companion. Yet through every rejection, he grew stronger. For him, these hardships were not obstacles, they were lessons, chiseling his character into something unbreakable. In his travels, Vivekananda witnessed the suffering of the poor, the divisions of caste, and the deep despair of a nation under colonial rule. These sights pierced his heart and ignited his mission. He realized that his calling was not to escape the world, but to awaken it. Out of this realization came his powerful philosophy. Strength is life, weakness is death. He believed that weakness of body, mind, or spirit was the true enemy, and that only by awakening inner strength could individuals and nations rise again. Every step he took, every hardship he endured, prepared him for the mission ahead. Vivekananda was no longer just a wandering monk. He was becoming the voice of a new India, a messenger of strength, courage, and unity. His story in this chapter teaches us something timeless. Greatness is not born in comfort, but in struggle. It is in the deserts of hunger and the storms of rejection that true power is forged. If you feel inspired by Vivekananda's courage, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, because just as he rose from hardship to strength, his message can empower us to face our own struggles with fearless determination. Next, we'll witness how this wandering monk carried India's voice to the grand stage of the world. The wandering monk's path eventually stretched far beyond India. By the early 1890s, Swami Vivekananda's burning desire was clear: to take the timeless wisdom of India to the wider world. That opportunity came when he was invited to represent Hinduism at the World's Parliament of Religions in Chicago, 1893. It was a stage unlike any other, where leaders, philosophers, and thinkers from across the globe would gather to share their vision of faith and humanity. But the road to Chicago was anything but easy. Vivekananda was not backed by wealth nor by political power. To fund his journey, he relied on the kindness of followers and admirers who believed in his mission. Every coin collected was a symbol of faith in his vision. Even then, the voyage was marked by difficulty. Traveling as a saffron-clad monk, he endured suspicion, racism, and the cold indifference of strangers. At times, he was humiliated for his appearance, his accent, or simply for being an Indian in a foreign land. Yet none of this shook his resolve. Vivekananda's strength lay in his unshakable belief that he carried not just his own voice but the spiritual heritage of an ancient civilization. He believed that the world needed India's message, the unity of all religions, the divinity of every soul, and the call to live with strength and compassion. His mission was not to preach superiority, but to remind humanity that true religion lies in harmony, not conflict. Every trial on his journey only deepened his determination. By the time he reached America, exhausted yet resolute, he was ready to speak not just as a monk, but as the voice of millions who had no stage of their own. His journey to the West is a reminder to us all: no dream worth chasing comes without struggle. And when you stand for truth, every barrier becomes a stepping stone. If this story inspires you, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video, so that Vivekananda's journey of courage and conviction continues to reach hearts around the world. Next, we'll relive the moment that made history: his unforgettable speech in Chicago. September 11, 1893, a date etched forever in history. The Grand Hall of the World's Parliament of Religions in Chicago was filled with scholars, religious leaders, and thinkers from across the globe. Among them stood a young monk from India, dressed in simple saffron robes unknown to most in the audience. Nervous yet steady, he stepped up to the podium. The moment he opened his mouth, history was made. With a warm smile and folded hands, he began, "Sisters and brothers of America." In those 5 words, the hall erupted. Thousands of people leapt to their feet. Thundering applause shook the hall, and the ovation lasted for minutes. Why? Because in a world divided by religion, nationality, and race, Vivekananda's greeting broke barriers. He didn't speak as a Hindu to Christians or as an Indian to foreigners. He spoke as a brother to fellow human beings. When the applause finally settled, he delivered a speech that would change the way the world saw India forever. He spoke of unity and diversity, of harmony among religions, of tolerance as the foundation of peace. With piercing clarity, he warned against the dangers of fanaticism and hatred, the very forces that had caused bloodshed across centuries. His message was bold yet compassionate, that all religions are different paths leading to the same truth, and that humanity must rise above division to embrace universal love. By the time he finished, the unknown monk had become a global icon. Newspapers hailed him as the voice of India and the prophet of the new age. For the first time, the West looked at India not as a land of poverty and superstition, but as a cradle of wisdom and spirituality. Vivekananda had not only spoken for his country, he had spoken for humanity. That speech was more than words. It was a roar of awakening, and it continues to echo today, reminding us that tolerance, strength, and unity are the only answers to a divided world. If this moment moves you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, because the message Vivekananda gave in 1893 is the message the world still desperately needs today. Up next, we'll see how his life in the West spread his mission even further, building bridges between East and West. After his thunderous success at the Parliament of Religions, Swami Vivekananda became a household name across the West. In an instant, he had changed the way the world viewed India. No longer was it seen only as a land of poverty or mysticism. Through him, India was revealed as a nation of deep wisdom, strength, and timeless spirituality. He became the living embodiment of India's voice to the modern world. From Chicago, he began traveling across the United States, delivering lectures that captivated audiences everywhere he went. His message was fresh, fearless, and transformative. He spoke of self-confidence as the foundation of success, of serving humanity as the highest form of religion, and of spirituality as a power that could uplift both individuals and nations. His words were not abstract philosophy. They were practical, inspiring, and deeply human. Crowds filled halls to hear him speak, and many walked away with a new vision of themselves and the world. But with fame also came resistance. Some criticized him for challenging dogmas and questioning blind faith. Others accused him of being too radical, too bold, too different. Yet Vivekananda never wavered. With calm dignity, he would remind his critics, "Criticism is the price of greatness." He welcomed opposition as proof that his words were stirring hearts and minds. For him, criticism was not an obstacle. It was a sign that he was shaking people out of complacency. Through all this, his humility remained untouched. Despite global fame, he lived simply, dedicating every moment to spreading truth and awakening strength in others. He was not building a following for himself. He was building a movement of courage, unity, and service. His global impact was undeniable. For the West, he opened a window into India's soul. For India, he carried back the respect and recognition of the world. And for humanity, he became a reminder that greatness is not about power or wealth, but about lifting others higher. If his global journey inspires you, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. Because just as Vivekananda lit a fire of confidence across continents, his story can ignite the same flame within us today. Next, we'll explore how he returned home to India, carrying with him not just fame, but a mission to awaken an entire nation. Swami Vivekananda was not a man of words alone. He lived his teachings through action. One winter night, after finishing a lecture in the West, he noticed a poor man shivering outside without warm clothes. Without hesitation, Vivekananda removed his own shawl and draped it over the man's shoulders. For him, this simple act of kindness was not charity, it was worship. He truly believed that serving a fellow human being was the same as serving God. This was the essence of his philosophy: love, service, and compassion. He taught that no prayer, no ritual, no scripture could be higher than lifting a suffering soul. Over and over, he reminded people that humanity itself is divine, and to serve humanity is the greatest religion. Whether it was feeding the hungry, comforting the poor, or inspiring the hopeless, Vivekananda showed that spirituality was not about escaping the world, but about transforming it through love. His words to the youth still echo with timeless power. Be fearless. Work hard. Help others. He wanted young people to rise above fear, to embrace discipline, and to dedicate their energy to uplifting society. To him, courage was not just about fighting battles. It was about facing life's struggles with strength and refusing to give up. Every act of service, no matter how small, was a step toward greatness. What made Vivekananda unforgettable was how seamlessly his actions matched his words. He didn't just preach compassion, he practiced it. He didn't just speak of fearlessness, he embodied it. And in doing so, he inspired millions to believe that true spirituality lies not in words, but in deeds. His life reminds us of a simple but profound truth. Every time we help someone, we are touching the divine. If his example moves you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, because just as Vivekananda's kindness lit warmth in a cold night, his message can light compassion in hearts across the world today. Next, we'll see how his vision for India's future gave strength to an entire generation. When Swami Vivekananda returned to India in 1897, he was welcomed like a hero. Thousands gathered to see him, to hear him, and to draw strength from his words. For them, he was not just a monk. He was a symbol of hope, courage, and national pride. After his historic triumph in the West, India saw in him the voice that could awaken a sleeping nation. But Vivekananda did not return to bask in glory. He returned with a mission. He was deeply pained by the poverty, suffering, and lack of confidence that had gripped his people. And so, with thunder in his voice, he gave a call that still echoes today. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. This wasn't just a slogan. It was a wake-up call for an entire nation. He wanted Indians to shake off fear, superstition, and passivity, and to realize that strength and greatness already lay within them. Central to his vision was education. But for Vivekananda, education wasn't about memorizing books or earning degrees. He believed true education was the manifestation of the perfection already within man. He dreamed of a future where every child could learn, grow, and discover their inner power. He saw education as the tool that could build character, awaken courage, and lead to national revival. His return marked a turning point, not just in his own journey, but in India's. He inspired a whole generation to take pride in their heritage, to believe in their own strength, and to work fearlessly for progress. Swami Vivekananda's voice was not the voice of one man. It was the roar of a nation rising to its destiny. If you feel inspired by his call to arise, awake, and then keep this spirit alive, like, share, and subscribe to spread this message of strength and self-belief. In the next part, we'll explore some of his most profound teachings, simple, timeless lessons that can transform our lives even today. Swami Vivekananda's philosophies were not just meant to be read in books. They were meant to be lived every single day. He gave the world timeless lessons that remain just as powerful now as they were more than a century ago. One of his strongest teachings was about the power of the present moment. He said, "Do one thing at a time, and while doing it, put your whole soul into it." For Vivekananda, success was not about rushing or multitasking. It was about giving your full dedication to whatever was in front of you. He also believed that challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. In a day when you don't come across any problems, he said, you can be sure that you are on the wrong path. To him, struggles were proof that we were moving forward, that life was shaping us into something stronger. Above all, Vivekananda placed enormous value on strength and fearlessness. Strength is life, weakness is death, he declared again and again. Fear, he said, was the greatest enemy, because it paralyzes action while strength gives birth to greatness. He also encouraged lifelong learning. His advice was simple: learn as if you were to live forever. For him, every day was an opportunity to grow, to expand the mind, and to deepen one's understanding of life. But perhaps his most profound teaching was about spirituality. To Vivekananda, True spirituality had little to do with rituals or ceremonies. It was about service. It was about love. It was about selflessness. He taught that the highest form of worship was not chanting in temples, but feeding the hungry, helping the poor, and lifting up those who had fallen. And finally, he left us with one of his most famous pieces of wisdom. Take up one idea. Make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea. This is the way to success. These words are not just philosophy. They are a roadmap to greatness. If Vivekananda's wisdom moves you, imagine how powerful our world could be if more people lived by these truths. Let's keep spreading his light. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Up next, we'll look at his final years and the eternal legacy he left behind. In the final years of his life, Swami Vivekananda pushed himself far beyond his physical limits. His health was declining, his body was frail, worn out by years of relentless travel, teaching, and service. But his spirit remained unshakable. He often told his disciples, "It is not life that matters, but the courage you bring to it." For Vivekananda, his mission was greater than his own comfort. He continued to inspire, to guide, and to serve, right up until his last breath. On the 4th of July, 1902, at the young age of just 39, Swami Vivekananda left this world. That morning he meditated deeply, spoke calmly with his disciples, and then in the evening, entered a state of stillness, fearless, serene, and at peace. His departure was not an end. It was a continuation of his message carried forward in the hearts of millions. Though his life was short, his legacy is eternal. He gave the world lessons in courage, compassion, and confidence. He taught that true greatness lies not in wealth or power, but in service to humanity. He reminded us that education is not about memorizing facts, but about awakening the strength already within us. And above all, he showed that belief in oneself is the foundation of all success. His words still ring with power today. All the powers in the universe are already ours. It is we who have put our hands before our eyes and cry that it is dark. Through these words, Vivekananda left us a message that can transform our lives. The strength we seek is already within us. We only need to awaken it. Swami Vivekananda's life proves that one person's courage, vision, and compassion can inspire generations, reshape nations, and uplift humanity. His story is not just history, it is a living lesson, urging each of us to rise above fear, dream big, and dedicate ourselves to making the world better. If his message touched your heart, carry it forward. Believe in yourself, act with courage, and serve with love. And to keep his legacy alive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so that more people can awaken to the power within them. Because the world changes when we do.